The Princess's Heart. Chapter 1, The Royal Court. The sun rose gracefully over the lush landscapes of the Chera Empire, casting a golden hue on the grand palace that stood as a testament to the kingdom's opulence and might. The palace, with its intricate carvings and majestic spires, was alive with the buzz of morning activities. Servants hurried through the marble halls, carrying trays laden with fruits and delicacies, while courtiers gathered in anticipation of the day's events. Princess Ananya, the cherished daughter of the king, stood by her window, gazing at the vibrant world outside. Despite the splendor surrounding her, Ananya felt a profound sense of restlessness. The palace, with its marble floors and gilded ceilings, often felt like a gilded cage. She longed to experience the world beyond its imposing walls, to breathe the same air as her people and to witness the simple joys of everyday life. Ananya's day began with the usual rituals. She was dressed in a resplendent sari, embroidered with gold threads and adorned with precious gems. Her dark hair was styled in intricate braids, and a delicate tiara crowned her head. As she made her way to the dining hall for breakfast, she was accompanied by her maid, Leela, a loyal confidant who had served the princess since childhood. The dining hall was a spectacle of luxury. Long tables were set with silverware, and the air was filled with the aroma of freshly baked bread and exotic spices. Ananya's parents, King Rajendra and Queen Meenakshi, were already seated. The king, a formidable figure with a commanding presence, greeted his daughter with a warm smile. "Good morning, Ananya," he said, his voice resonating with authority. "I trust you slept well." "Good morning, father," Ananya replied, taking her seat. "Yes, I did." As they dined, the king discussed matters of state with his advisors, while the queen spoke of the upcoming festivities and court gatherings. Ananya listened politely, though her mind wandered to thoughts of the village beyond the palace. She had heard tales of bustling markets, vibrant festivals, and the simple lives of the villagers. The idea of experiencing such a world filled her with a sense of excitement and longing. After breakfast, Ananya retreated to her chambers, where Leela awaited her. "Leela, I wish to see the village," Ananya said, her eyes sparkling with determination. "I want to know what life is like beyond these walls." Leela hesitated, aware of the dangers and the potential consequences of such a venture. "Your Highness, it is not safe," she cautioned. "The world outside is different from the sheltered life you know." "I understand, Leela," Ananya replied, "but I must see it for myself. I will disguise myself as a commoner. No one will recognize me." Reluctantly, Leela agreed to help her. Disguised in simple clothes and a veil, Ananya slipped out of the palace under the cover of dawn, with Leela by her side. They made their way through the narrow streets, filled with the sounds and smells of the bustling village. Ananya's heart raced with excitement as she observed the vibrant scenes around her. As they wandered, Ananya's attention was drawn to a small workshop, where a young man was meticulously carving a piece of wood. His hands moved with precision, turning the raw material into a work of art. Ananya watched in awe, captivated by his skill and dedication. "Who is he?" she asked Leela, her curiosity piqued. "That is Aravinth," Leela whispered. "He is a carpenter, known for his craftsmanship. His work is admired by many in the village." Ananya felt an inexplicable pull towards Aravinth. She wanted to learn more about him, to understand his world. Little did she know that this chance encounter would change her life forever, setting her on a path of forbidden love and unforeseen challenges. As the sun began to set, Ananya and Leela made their way back to the palace, their hearts filled with new experiences and secrets. Ananya knew that her life would never be the same, and she welcomed the uncertainty with open arms, eager to embrace whatever the future held. Thus began the story of the princess's heart, where love and destiny intertwined in the most unexpected of ways. Chapter 2, The Commoner's World. The village of Kavaripuram bustled with life as the morning sun bathed its streets in a warm, golden light. Unlike the grandeur of the royal palace, the village was a picture of simplicity and hard work. Its residents went about their daily routines, tending to their trades and livelihoods with a sense of purpose and community. In a modest workshop nestled at the edge of the village, Aravinth, a skilled carpenter, meticulously carved a piece of teakwood. His hands moved with a practiced grace, chipping away the rough edges to reveal the elegant design hidden within. Aravinth's workshop was a haven of creativity, filled with the scent of freshly cut wood and the soft hum of his tools. Aravinth was known throughout the village for his exceptional craftsmanship. His works adorned many homes and temples, each piece a testament to his dedication and artistry. Despite his talent, Aravinth lived a humble life, content with the simple pleasures his work and community provided. As the day progressed, the village came alive with the sounds of bustling markets and lively conversations. Vendors called out to passers-by, children played in the dusty streets, and the aroma of spiced food filled the air. Aravinth often found inspiration in these scenes, drawing from the vibrant life around him to fuel his creativity. It was on one such day, while Aravinth was lost in his work, that a stranger entered his workshop. The young woman, dressed in simple attire with a veil covering her face, watched him with curious eyes. There was something about her presence that intrigued Aravinth, though he couldn't quite place it. "Hello," the woman said, her voice soft yet confident. "Your work is beautiful. May I watch you for a while?" Aravinth looked up, momentarily taken aback by the request. "Of course," he replied, offering a welcoming smile. "I always appreciate an audience." The woman introduced herself as Ananya, and though she kept her face partially hidden, Aravinth could sense a certain grace and elegance about her. As he continued to work, they struck up a conversation, sharing stories and laughter. Ananya asked many questions about his craft, and Aravinth found himself enjoying the exchange more than he had anticipated. Days turned into weeks, and Ananya's visits to the workshop became a regular occurrence. She came under the pretense of admiring Aravinth's work, but their conversations soon grew more personal. They spoke of their dreams and aspirations, and Aravinth found himself opening up to her in ways he hadn't with anyone else. Ananya, too, felt a growing connection with Aravinth. His humility and passion for his craft were a stark contrast to the rigid formalities of palace life. She admired his dedication and the joy he found in simple things. However, she knew that their friendship was fraught with risk. As a princess, her visits to the village were forbidden, and her growing feelings for Aravinth added another layer of complication. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the village, Ananya and Aravinth sat outside the workshop, watching the sky. "Do you ever wonder what lies beyond our village?" Ananya asked, her voice filled with wonder. Aravinth nodded. "Sometimes. But I find that there's beauty in the familiar, in the life we've built here." Ananya smiled, though a part of her longed for the freedom to explore the world beyond. Their friendship had grown into something deeper, something neither of them could deny. Yet, the reality of their different worlds loomed over them, a constant reminder of the challenges they would face. As the night grew darker, Ananya knew she had to return to the palace. She bid Aravinth farewell, her heart heavy with the weight of her secret. Little did they know that their bond would soon be tested in ways they could never have imagined, setting the stage for a love story that would transcend boundaries and defy the odds. Chapter 3: An Unexpected Meeting. The vibrant village of Kavaripuram continued to be a sanctuary of routine and simplicity. Each day brought with it new opportunities for hard work, laughter, and community spirit. For Aravinth, his workshop remained a place of solace where he poured his soul into his carvings, drawing inspiration from the life teeming around him. As the first light of dawn broke, Ananya awoke with a flutter of excitement. Today, she would once again venture beyond the palace walls, to the place where her heart felt freer. Disguised in her simple clothes and accompanied by Leela, Ananya slipped out of the palace, her pulse quickening with anticipation. The village was already stirring with activity. Market stalls were being set up, children chased one another through the narrow streets, and the aroma of freshly baked bread wafted through the air. Ananya moved through the village with a sense of wonder, absorbing every sight and sound. She found herself once more at Aravinth's workshop. The sight of him at work, deeply focused on his craft, brought a smile to her face. She watched silently for a moment, admiring the way his hands skillfully transformed the wood into intricate designs. "Good morning, Aravinth," she greeted, stepping into the workshop. Aravinth looked up, his face lighting up with a warm smile. "Good morning, Ananya. It's good to see you again." Their conversations had become a cherished part of both their lives. Ananya felt a connection with Aravinth that transcended the boundaries of their different worlds. They spoke of their dreams, fears, and the little joys that made life meaningful. Today, however, their conversation took a different turn. Ananya, driven by an inexplicable need to share more of herself, began to tell Aravinth about the royal palace. She spoke of the grandeur, the rituals, and the expectations that came with being a princess. Though she stopped short of revealing her true identity, her words painted a vivid picture of a life that was both privileged and confined. Aravinth listened intently, his curiosity piqued. "It must be quite a life, living in such a grand place," he remarked. "It is," Ananya admitted, her voice tinged with a hint of sadness. "But sometimes, I feel like I'm missing out on something real, something tangible." Aravinth nodded, understanding the sentiment. "It's true that our lives are different, but each has its own challenges and rewards. Here, we find joy in the simple things." As they spoke, the bond between them grew stronger. Ananya found solace in Aravinth's presence, and Aravinth was drawn to Ananya's curiosity and grace. Their friendship, though forbidden by the rules of their society, blossomed into something deeper, something neither of them could deny. Unbeknownst to them, their secret meetings were being watched. A courtier, driven by jealousy and ambition, had taken notice of Ananya's frequent visits to the village. His suspicions grew, and he bided his time, waiting for the right moment to act. One afternoon, as Ananya and Aravinth sat by the river, sharing stories and laughter, the courtier approached the king with his discovery. "Your Majesty, I have something of great importance to report," he said, his voice dripping with feigned concern. The king listened as the courtier recounted his tale, his anger simmering beneath the surface. He could not believe that his daughter, the princess of the Chera Empire, would defy tradition and risk everything for a commoner. His heart ached with a mixture of betrayal and fear for what this revelation could mean for the kingdom. Back at the river, Ananya and Aravinth remained blissfully unaware of the storm brewing within the palace. They were lost in each other's company, their hearts intertwined by a love that transcended the boundaries of their different worlds. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the landscape, Ananya knew it was time to return to the palace. She bid Aravinth farewell, her heart heavy with the knowledge that their love, though beautiful, was fraught with risk and uncertainty. Little did they know that their secret was no longer safe, and the days ahead would test the strength of their love in ways they could never have imagined. The path they had chosen was filled with challenges, but their hearts beat as one, ready to face whatever the future held. Chapter 4, Blossoming Friendship. The sun climbed high in the sky, casting warm rays over the bustling village of Kavaripuram. Ananya's heart raced with anticipation as she made her way to Aravinth's workshop. Each visit had become a precious escape from the constraints of palace life, a chance to experience the world through a different lens. Aravinth welcomed Ananya with his usual warm smile, his eyes lighting up at the sight of her. "Good morning, Ananya. It's always a pleasure to see you." "Good morning, Aravinth," Ananya replied, her voice tinged with a hint of joy. "I couldn't wait to come back and see what new creation you're working on." Today, Aravinth was carving an intricate design into a large wooden panel, intended to be part of a temple door. Ananya watched in fascination as his skilled hands brought the design to life, each stroke of the chisel revealing more of the elaborate pattern. As the days passed, their conversations grew deeper and more personal. Ananya found herself sharing stories of her childhood, her dreams, and even her fears. Aravinth, in turn, spoke of his life in the village, his aspirations, and the challenges he faced. They discovered a shared love for art and nature, and their bond grew stronger with each passing day. One afternoon, as they sat outside the workshop, enjoying the gentle breeze, Ananya confided in Aravinth about her longing for freedom. "I sometimes feel like a bird trapped in a golden cage," she admitted, her voice soft with vulnerability. "I love my family, but there are so many expectations and rules." Aravinth listened intently, his heart aching for her. "I understand, Ananya. Sometimes, the things that seem to offer the most protection can also feel the most confining." Their friendship had blossomed into something more profound, a connection that transcended the boundaries of their different worlds. Ananya found solace in Aravinth's presence, and Aravinth cherished the moments they spent together. However, both knew that their growing feelings for each other could lead to dangerous consequences. One evening, as the sky turned shades of pink and orange, Ananya and Aravinth strolled along the river bank. The water shimmered in the fading light, creating a serene and magical atmosphere. "I wish we could stay like this forever," Ananya said, her voice filled with longing. Aravinth took her hand, his touch gentle yet reassuring. "No matter what happens, Ananya, know that you will always have a place in my heart." Their hearts were intertwined, beating as one, even as the world around them remained unaware of their secret love. Yet, the shadow of their different lives loomed over them, a constant reminder of the challenges they would face. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Ananya knew it was time to return to the palace. She bid Aravinth farewell, her heart heavy with the knowledge that their love, though beautiful, was fraught with risk and uncertainty. Unbeknownst to them, the courtier who had been spying on Ananya's secret visits was growing more determined to reveal their relationship. He bided his time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike and expose their forbidden love. Back at the palace, Ananya struggled to maintain a facade of normalcy. Her thoughts were consumed by Aravinth, and the world they had created together in the village. She knew that their bond was special, but she also knew that it would be tested in ways they could never have imagined. As the days turned into weeks, their love continued to grow, defying the constraints of their different worlds. They cherished each stolen moment, knowing that their path was filled with challenges. But their hearts beat as one, ready to face whatever the future held, united by a love that transcended all boundaries. Chapter 5: The Royal Engagement. The palace was abuzz with excitement and preparations for a grand announcement. The corridors were adorned with fresh flowers, and the scent of incense filled the air. Musicians tuned their instruments, and the royal chefs prepared an elaborate feast. The court gathered in anticipation, unaware of the turmoil brewing in Princess Ananya's heart. Ananya sat in her chambers, her heart heavy with dread. Her parents had summoned her for an important announcement, and she had a sinking feeling about what it could be. Leela stood by her side, offering silent support. "Princess, you must stay strong," Leela whispered, sensing Ananya's anxiety. "Whatever happens, remember your heart." Summoning her courage, Ananya made her way to the throne room. The grandeur of the palace, usually a source of pride, now felt like a burden. As she entered, she saw her parents seated on their thrones, their faces beaming with pride. "Ananya, my dear," King Rajendra began, his voice filled with joy, "we have wonderful news. To strengthen the bonds between our kingdoms, we have arranged your engagement to Prince Devendra of the Pandya kingdom." The words struck Ananya like a blow. She felt the weight of her royal duties pressing down on her, suffocating her dreams of love and freedom. She glanced at her mother, Queen Meenakshi, who smiled encouragingly, oblivious to the turmoil in her daughter's heart. "Father, Mother," Ananya began, struggling to keep her voice steady, I am honored by your decision, but I must confess something." The court fell silent, all eyes on the princess. Ananya took a deep breath, summoning her courage. "There is someone else. Someone I have come to care for deeply." The king's smile faltered, and his eyes darkened with anger. "What are you saying, Ananya?" I have met someone in the village, a man named Aravinth, Ananya continued, her voice trembling. He is a carpenter, and my heart belongs to him. Gasps and whispers rippled through the court. The king's face turned crimson with fury. How dare you? You have disgraced our family and our kingdom with your reckless behavior. Queen Meenakshi's eyes filled with tears, and she reached out to her daughter. Ananya, my dear, you must understand the importance of this engagement. It is your duty to our people. Ananya's heart ached with the weight of her parents' disappointment, but she stood her ground. I understand my duty, mother, but I cannot ignore my heart. I cannot marry someone I do not love. The king's anger boiled over. You will do as you are told. Guards, take the princess to her chambers. She is not to leave until further notice. As the guards escorted Ananya away, she cast a final, pleading glance at her parents. She knew that her defiance would come at a great cost, but she could not betray her heart and the love she felt for Aravinth. Back in her chambers, Ananya wept, her heart torn between duty and love. Leela comforted her, knowing the difficult path that lay ahead. We will find a way, princess, Leela whispered. Love always finds a way. Meanwhile, in the village, Aravinth continued his work, unaware of the storm that was brewing. He often thought of Ananya, her presence like a beacon of light in his life. He knew their love was forbidden, but he could not help the feelings that had blossomed in his heart. As the days passed, the tension in the palace grew. The courtier who had discovered Ananya's secret visits to the village saw an opportunity to advance his own interests. He sought an audience with the king, eager to reveal the full extent of Ananya's defiance. Your Majesty, the courtier began, bowing deeply, I regret to inform you that Princess Ananya's visits to the village have been more frequent than you know. She has been meeting with this commoner, Aravinth, in secret. The king's fury reignited, and he ordered Aravinth's immediate arrest. Guards were dispatched to the village, their mission clear, to capture the man who had stolen the princess's heart and bring him to face the consequences. As the guards approached Aravinth's workshop, the village fell silent with fear and curiosity. Aravinth was taken by surprise, his heart sinking as he realized the gravity of the situation. He was led away in chains, his fate now in the hands of the king. Back at the palace, Ananya learned of Aravinth's arrest and her world shattered. She knew that their love would now be tested in ways they could never have imagined. But her heart remained steadfast, determined to find a way to be with the man she loved, no matter the cost. Chapter 6, Forbidden Love. The tension in the palace was palpable as news of Aravinth's arrest spread like wildfire. Ananya felt as though her world had come crashing down around her. She paced her chambers, her mind racing with thoughts of Aravinth and the perilous situation they now faced. Leela, ever the loyal friend, stood by Ananya's side, offering words of comfort and solace. Princess, we must find a way to help Aravinth, she said softly. His life is in danger. Ananya nodded, determination hardening her resolve. I won't let him suffer for our love. We must act quickly. Meanwhile, in the palace dungeon, Aravinth sat in a dimly lit cell, his hands bound by heavy chains. The cold stone walls were a stark contrast to the warmth and vibrancy of the village he had left behind. Despite the grim circumstances, Aravinth's thoughts remained focused on Ananya and the love they shared. As the days passed, Ananya devised a plan to save Aravinth. She knew that their love was forbidden, but her heart refused to abandon the man who had become her world. With Leela's help, she gathered the information and resources needed to execute their daring escape. One evening, under the cover of darkness, Ananya and Leela made their way to the dungeon. They avoided the guards, moving stealthily through the shadowed corridors. When they reached Aravinth's cell, Ananya's heart skipped a beat at the sight of him, his spirit unbroken despite the harsh conditions. Ananya, Aravinth whispered, his voice filled with a mixture of relief and concern. You shouldn't be here. It's too dangerous. I couldn't leave you here, Aravinth, Ananya replied, her voice trembling with emotion. We have to get you out of here. Our love is worth any risk. With the help of Leela, they managed to unlock the cell door and free Aravinth from his chains. They moved quickly, navigating the labyrinthine passages of the palace. The night was their ally, concealing their movements as they made their way to the outskirts of the palace grounds. As they reached the edge of the palace, the trio paused to catch their breath. The air was cool and still, a stark contrast to the turmoil they had just left behind. Ananya took Aravintha's hand, her heart swelling with a mixture of fear and hope. "We must leave the kingdom," Ananya said, her voice resolute. "It's the only way to ensure our safety." Aravinth nodded, his gaze filled with determination. "I will follow you anywhere, Ananya. Our love is worth any sacrifice." With Leela's guidance, they navigated the treacherous terrain, moving swiftly to avoid detection. The journey was fraught with challenges, but their love and resolve kept them moving forward. As the days turned into weeks, they found refuge in a distant village, far from the reach of the Chera Empire. The villagers welcomed them with open arms, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, Ananya and Aravinth felt a sense of peace and freedom. In their new home, Ananya and Aravinth began to rebuild their lives. Aravinth resumed his work as a carpenter, while Ananya found joy in the simple pleasures of village life. Their love, forged in the crucible of adversity, grew stronger with each passing day. Though they faced many hardships, their hearts remained steadfast, united by a love that transcended all boundaries. They had chosen a path fraught with danger, but their love had guided them to a place where they could be together, free from the constraints of their past. As they stood hand in hand, gazing at the horizon, Ananya and Aravinth knew that their journey was far from over. But they also knew that, no matter what challenges lay ahead, their love would always be their guiding light. Chapter 7, Discovery and Betrayal. The peaceful days Ananya and Aravinth had cherished in their new village were abruptly shattered. Their love, though strong, was now under threat from the betrayal that had taken root within the palace. The courtiers' jealousy and ambition had set in motion a series of events that would test the very limits of their bond. One early morning, as the village was just beginning to stir, a group of royal guards descended upon their sanctuary. The sound of hooves and clanging armor echoed through the narrow streets, sending villagers scurrying in fear. Ananya and Aravinth, startled from their sleep, realized with dread that they had been found. "Ananya, we have to go," Aravinth urged, his voice tight with urgency. They quickly gathered their few belongings, but it was too late. The guards burst into their modest home, weapons drawn. "By order of the king, you are both under arrest," the captain of the guard declared, his voice stern and unforgiving. Ananya and Aravinth exchanged a desperate glance, their hearts pounding with fear and frustration. There was no time to flee, no place to hide. They were taken into custody, their hands bound with rough ropes as they were led away. As they were escorted back to the Chera Empire, the reality of their situation weighed heavily on them. Ananya's thoughts were consumed with worry for Aravinth, who had been thrust into this nightmare because of their love. She could only hope that her parents would show mercy. Upon their arrival at the palace, the atmosphere was tense and foreboding. The court had gathered, and the king's stern gaze bore down on the couple. Ananya stood tall, determined to face whatever was to come with courage. "Ananya," King Rajendra began, his voice filled with a mixture of anger and disappointment, "you have defied our laws and brought disgrace upon our family. This commoner has no place in our world." "Father, please," Ananya pleaded, her voice unwavering. "Aravinth is a good man. Our love is true. I beg you to show mercy." The king's expression hardened. "You have made your choice, Ananya. But the law is clear. Aravinth will stand trial for his actions, and you will fulfill your duty to our kingdom." Aravinth was led away to a cell, his fate now in the hands of the court. Ananya felt a surge of helplessness and anger, but she refused to give up. She knew that their love was worth fighting for. In the days that followed, the court was abuzz with preparations for the trial. Ananya sought counsel from trusted friends and allies, desperate to find a way to save Aravinth. She knew that the trial would be a test of their love and resilience. When the day of the trial arrived, the court was filled with tension. Aravinth stood before the king, the weight of the accusations pressing down on him. Ananya watched from the sidelines, her heart aching with fear and determination. The trial began with the courtier presenting his evidence of Ananya's secret visits to the village and her relationship with Aravinth. The king listened, his expression grim and unforgiving. Ananya could stay silent no longer. She stepped forward, her voice ringing clear and strong. "Father, this trial is not just about Aravinth. It is about love, honor, and the courage to follow one's heart. I beg you to see the goodness in him and the sincerity of our love." The court fell silent, her words hanging in the air. The king's gaze softened, but his decision was far from certain. The future of their love hung in the balance, teetering on the edge of fate and mercy. As the trial continued, Ananya and Aravinth clung to the hope that their love would prevail. They knew that their path was fraught with challenges, but their hearts remained united, ready to face whatever trials lay ahead. Chapter 8: The Trial. The air in the courtroom was thick with tension. Ananya's heart pounded in her chest as she stood before her father, the king, and the assembled court. The fate of her beloved Aravinth hung in the balance, and she knew that this moment would determine the course of their lives. Aravinth stood with dignity, his eyes meeting Ananya's across the room. Though his hands were bound, his spirit remained unbroken. He had faced many challenges in his life, but none as daunting as this. The courtier, relishing the attention, stepped forward to present his case. "Your Majesty, I have presented evidence that your daughter, Princess Ananya, has been conducting secret visits to the village and engaging in a relationship with this commoner, Aravinth. Such behavior is a grave violation of our laws and traditions." King Rajendra's gaze was stern as he listened to the courtier's accusations. Ananya felt a surge of anger and frustration, but she knew that now was not the time to give in to those emotions. She had to remain calm and focused if she was to save Aravinth. "Aravinth," the king addressed him directly, "do you have anything to say in your defense?" Aravinth took a deep breath, his voice steady and resolute. "Your Majesty, I have nothing but respect for your kingdom and its traditions. My only crime is loving your daughter, Princess Ananya, with all my heart. Our love is true and pure, and I would do anything to protect her." The court murmured in response to Aravinth's words. Ananya stepped forward, her eyes fixed on her father. "Father, I know that I have defied our traditions, but I beg you to see the goodness in Aravinth. He is a man of honor and integrity, and our love should not be condemned." Queen Meenakshi, who had been silently watching the proceedings, rose from her seat. "Husband, our daughter's happiness should not be overlooked. Love is a powerful force, and perhaps it is time for us to consider a new perspective." King Rajendra's expression softened slightly, but his decision was far from made. The weight of tradition and the expectations of his people weighed heavily on him. He turned to the courtier. "Do you have any further evidence to present?" The courtier, sensing that his moment of triumph was slipping away, hesitated. "No, Your Majesty, but I urge you to uphold the laws of our kingdom." The king nodded, then turned to address the court. "We are a kingdom built on tradition and honor, but we must also recognize the power of love and the importance of our daughter's happiness. I will not make this decision lightly." He looked at Ananya and Aravinth, his expression a mixture of sadness and resolve. "Aravinth, you will be granted a fair trial. Until then, you will remain in custody. Ananya, you will be confined to the palace until further notice. We will consider the evidence and make a decision in due course." As the guards led Aravinth away, Ananya felt a mix of relief and anxiety. They had been given a chance, but the outcome was still uncertain. She could only hope that their love would prevail and that her father would find it in his heart to show mercy. In the days that followed, Ananya sought every opportunity to plead her case. She spoke with trusted advisors, wrote letters, and prayed for a favorable outcome. She knew that their love was worth fighting for, and she refused to give up. Meanwhile, Aravinth remained in his cell, his thoughts focused on Ananya and their future. He drew strength from the knowledge that their love was pure and true, and he held on to the hope that they would one day be reunited. The trial continued, with both sides presenting their arguments and evidence. The court listened intently, weighing the merits of each case. As the final day of the trial approached, the tension in the palace reached a fever pitch. King Rajendra, burdened by the weight of his decision, spent many sleepless nights contemplating the future. He knew that his choice would have far-reaching consequences, not only for his daughter Aravinth but for the entire kingdom. On the final day of the trial, the court gathered once more. Ananya and Aravinth stood side by side, their hands clasped together in a show of solidarity and love. The king took his place on the throne, his expression solemn. After careful consideration of all the evidence and the arguments presented, I have reached a decision, King Rajendra began, his voice steady. Aravinth, you have been accused of violating our traditions and laws by engaging in a relationship with my daughter, Princess Ananya. He paused, his gaze shifting to Ananya. Ananya, you have defied the expectations placed upon you as a member of the royal family. However, I cannot ignore the strength of your love and the sincerity of your intentions. The court held its breath, waiting for the king's next words. Therefore, I have decided to grant Aravinth a pardon. He will not be punished for his actions. However, in order to preserve the honor of our kingdom, I cannot allow this relationship to continue. Ananya's heart sank at her father's words, but she refused to accept them. Father, please, reconsider. Our love is true and pure. We can find a way to honor our traditions and still be together. The king's expression softened, and he sighed deeply. Ananya, I know that you believe in your love. But as your father and as the king, I must think of the greater good. I must uphold the laws and traditions that have guided our kingdom for generations. With a heavy heart, Ananya and Aravinth were led away from the courtroom. Their love had been tested and had endured, but the path ahead was uncertain. They clung to the hope that one day, their love would be recognized and accepted. As they faced the challenges that lay ahead, Ananya and Aravinth remained united by their love, ready to overcome any obstacle in their quest to be together. They knew that their journey was far from over, but they were determined to face it together, no matter what the future held. Chapter 9: Escape and Sacrifice. The days that followed the trial were filled with tension and uncertainty. Ananya and Aravinth were confined to separate quarters within the palace, their hearts aching for the moments they could not share. Despite the king's decree, Ananya refused to give up on their love. One evening, as the palace was enveloped in the stillness of night, Ananya and Leela met in secret. We must find a way to be together, Ananya whispered, her voice filled with determination. I cannot live without Aravinth. Leela nodded, her loyalty unwavering. There is a way, princess, but it will require great sacrifice. We must leave the kingdom and start anew. Ananya's heart raced at the thought of leaving everything behind, but she knew that her love for Aravinth was worth any sacrifice. With Leela's help, they began to formulate a plan. They would need to act quickly and decisively to avoid detection. Under the cover of darkness, Ananya and Leela made their way to Aravinth's quarters. The guards, having grown complacent in their duty, were easily avoided. When they reached Aravinth, Ananya's heart swelled with relief and love. Ananya, Aravinth whispered, his voice filled with emotion. I knew you would come for me. We must leave, Aravinth, Ananya said, her eyes shining with determination. Our love cannot thrive here. We must find a place where we can be free. Aravinth nodded, his resolve matching hers. Together, they slipped through the palace corridors, moving with a quiet urgency. Leela had arranged for a trusted friend to provide them with horses and supplies for their journey. As they reached the palace gates, Ananya's heart pounded with a mix of fear and excitement. The world beyond the gates was filled with uncertainty, but it also held the promise of freedom and a future together. With Leela's guidance, they made their way to the edge of the kingdom, avoiding the main roads and traveling through dense forests and hidden paths. The journey was arduous, but their love gave them the strength to persevere. Days turned into weeks as they traveled further from the Chera Empire. Ananya and Aravinth relied on each other for support and comfort, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. They encountered challenges and hardships, but their love remained unwavering. One evening, as they camped by a secluded river, Ananya and Aravinth reflected on their journey. "We have come so far," Ananya said, her voice filled with gratitude. "I could not have done this without you, Aravinth." "And I without you, Ananya," Aravinth replied, his eyes filled with love. "Our love has given us the strength to overcome any obstacle." As they gazed at the stars, Ananya and Aravinth knew that their journey was far from over. They had found a place where their love could flourish, free from the constraints of their past. The future held many uncertainties, but they faced it together, united by a love that transcended all boundaries. In their new home, Ananya and Aravinth began to build a life filled with hope and promise. Aravinth resumed his work as a carpenter, creating beautiful pieces that reflected the love and joy in their hearts. Ananya found fulfillment in the simple pleasures of village life, cherishing the moments they shared. Their love, forged in the crucible of adversity, had endured and grown stronger. They had faced countless challenges, but their hearts remained united, ready to overcome whatever lay ahead. Together, they embraced the future, confident in the knowledge that their love would always be their guiding light. Chapter 10, New Beginnings. The dawn of a new day brought with it a sense of hope and renewal. Ananya and Aravinth had journeyed far from the Chera Empire, and now they stood on the threshold of a new life. The village that welcomed them was nestled in a valley surrounded by rolling hills and lush greenery, a place where their love could thrive without the shadows of their past. As they settled into their new home, Ananya and Aravinth began to build a life together. Aravinth resumed his work as a carpenter, and his workshop quickly became renowned for the exquisite pieces he crafted. Each creation was a testament to his skill and dedication, and the villagers marveled at the beauty he brought into their lives. Ananya found joy in the simple pleasures of village life. She helped the villagers with their daily tasks, learning new skills and forming deep bonds with the people around her. She cherished the freedom to explore, to learn, and to grow without the constraints of her former royal duties. One morning, as Ananya and Aravinth walked hand in hand through the village, they were greeted by the smiling faces of their neighbors. The sense of community and belonging warmed their hearts, and they knew they had found a place where they could truly be themselves. "Good morning, Ananya," Aravinth called out an elderly woman, her eyes twinkling with kindness. "I heard you are planning to build a new school for the children. What a wonderful idea!" Ananya smiled and nodded. "Yes, we want to give the children here the opportunity to learn and grow. Education is a gift that can change lives." With the support of the villagers, Ananya and Aravinth began working on their project. The school was a labor of love, built with the same care and attention that Aravinth put into his carvings. As the walls rose and the roof took shape, the children watched in awe, their excitement growing with each passing day. The school became a symbol of their new beginnings, a place where dreams could take root and flourish. Ananya took on the role of a teacher, sharing her knowledge and wisdom with the eager young minds. She found immense joy in watching the children learn and grow, their curiosity and enthusiasm reminding her of the value of knowledge and exploration. Aravinth, too, found fulfillment in his work. His carpentry business flourished, and he took pride in knowing that his creations brought beauty and happiness to others. The love and respect of the villagers filled his heart with gratitude, and he knew that he had found his true calling. As the seasons changed, Ananya and Aravinth's love continued to grow. They faced challenges and obstacles, but their bond remained unbreakable. Their hearts beat as one, united by a love that had endured the trials of fate and the test of time. One evening, as they sat by the river, Ananya leaned against Aravinth, her heart filled with contentment. "We've come so far, Aravinth. Our journey has been difficult, but I wouldn't change a thing. Our love has brought us to this beautiful place. Aravinth wrapped his arm around her, his gaze fixed on the shimmering water. Our love has guided us through the darkest times, Ananya. And it will continue to guide us, no matter what the future holds. They knew that their journey was far from over, but they faced it with hope and determination. Their love had been tested and had emerged stronger than ever. Together, they embraced the future, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Ananya and Aravinth had found their new beginning, a place where their love could flourish and grow. They had overcome the constraints of their past and forged a path filled with promise and possibility. Their story was one of resilience, sacrifice, and the enduring power of love, a love that transcended boundaries and defied the odds. As they gazed at the horizon, their hearts swelled with gratitude and joy. They had discovered that true happiness lay not in the grandeur of their surroundings, but in the simple moments they shared and the love that bound them together. In their new life, they had found their own version of happily ever after, a testament to the strength of their love and the courage to follow their hearts.